Good morning, guys. My name is Alan from Dream Big Live Tiny, and today we are here in the beautiful hill country in Texas, just outside of Dripping Springs, and we are staying in this incredible modern tiny cabin here on this family farm. So this modern tiny cabin is 455 square feet, so it's a little bit on the larger side of the tiny home spectrum, but that makes for a great little space for a weeknight stay or even a weekend away from the city. So let's go check out the inside. So welcome to the inside of the modern tiny cabin numero uno. So this is one of 3 cabins here on the property. There's this one here, there's 2 more over there. So each of these has capacity for 2 to 4 guests. So one thing that's really cool about this entire property is, so we're on a family farm right now. I don't know exactly how large it is, though the area that you have access to is at least like 5 or 6 acres from what we could tell from what we walked around. So, you know, great idea for some of you guys if you're looking for a place to kind of just get away for a weekend or a couple nights, is you could rent all these cabins together with your friends. So you could get together anywhere from 6 to 12 people and basically rent these individual cabins. And that way, once you guys have access to these three cabins, then it really feels like you have this entire farm to yourself. And this property is absolutely beautiful. So it's set here on this little hill in the middle of the hill country. You have horse stables over there on the edge of the property. They have a handful of horses, they have some cows, they have some donkeys, and they even have a chicken coop. So you can just walk around the property. There's some trails around here as well, and just explore the farm. And they even have this large event space sort of like at the center of the property. So this is another venue for weddings, parties, or anything like that that you would need sort of like a open area and have access to. And then, you know, if you host an event here, then you can rent the cabins and have a really private sort of stay here. But this is the inside of the modern tiny cabin. So again, this is 455 square feet. It measures about 15 or 16 feet wide and a little over 20 feet in length. And probably the coolest thing about this space is just how high the ceilings are. It's about 15 feet high ceilings. And on these 3 walls right here, we have this sanded birch plywood, which really kind of gives you this rustic feel. It has a really nice sort of blending with the white shiplap on this side of the walls. So one of my favorite things about this house is how enormous these windows are. So when you walk in, you have this massive glass sliding door that brings in tons of light from this side. And you have these massive windows on this side that are floor to, I don't know, they're probably about 7 feet, 7 by 7. There's 2 of these, and then you have some smaller versions up there which bring in light from the top. And then, of course, there's windows sort of scattered throughout the kitchen, the loft, the bedroom. So you have tons of natural light coming in from every direction at all times of the day, which really helps with not having to keep the lights on throughout the entire day. So this is the main living area that I'm standing in right here. So we have a single couch on this side. We have this super comfortable sort of longhorn colored chair that I didn't know how comfortable it was until I sat here for several hours last night. We were watching TV. And then you have this smaller sort of love seat in the corner. There's some great views of the farm. And then we have Mr. Smutch right here, the star of the show. He hadn't made an appearance yet, but these cabins are pet friendly, as well as the rest of the farm. You just have to pay an extra $20 pet fee, I believe. And they're just not allowed on the furniture or the bed. But they're definitely allowed on the rest of the property, on leash. You can take them around some of the trails and to go see the animals. Yeah, so don't leave the smudges at home. Bring them to the modern tiny cabin. And then on this side, we have the kitchen. Another great area of the home. And this right here is something you don't see very often in a tiny house, which is this massive island. We have these sort of like lightly stained butcher block countertops. this massive, really long countertop on this side, tons of space to prep, to make meals. This is a very large kitchen for this space for 455 square feet. I've seen apartments with less space than this, houses with less sort of countertop cabinet space. The amount of cabinet space in this home is more akin to what you would find in a tiny house that's set up for full-time living, not so much for sort of like an Airbnb short-term rental. So if you're the kind of person that wants to sort of test out tiny living, then a place like this is what you really want to stay at to get a feel for whether or not you could really make this sort of space work for yourself, for you and your family, for full-time living. So we have this actual real stove with 4 burners and an oven, big luxury. We have this farmhouse sink on this side with this amazing little window giving you tons of natural light, as I said earlier, and just great views of the rest of the property. We have, all your pots, pans, plates, cups, everything you'll need for your stay, your Keurig for all you Keurig fanatics. And they actually also have a Chemex, and they can provide some local beans. You just grind them up and then make yourself a delicious cup, pour over. And then we have an apartment-sized fridge here. It's about 10 cubic foot. So definitely more than enough space for a weeknight, a weekend, and maybe even a week-long stay as well. So that's the kitchen. Now we're moving on to the bedroom. So this is the bedroom, an actual private bedroom in a tiny house. You don't see that very often either. It actually has a pocket sliding door, so you can close it up at night or during the day. And this is a full-size bed, I believe. I'm used to sleeping in a queen-size bed, so I felt a little bit more cramped. But for the amount of space in here, I feel like it suits the space fine. You don't want to not have enough room to walk around. But nonetheless, again, lots of windows in here, including this massive one. It's a great way to wake up in the morning to some natural light and some views of the farm as well. And then on this side, we have a little bit of closet space. We have some hanging space, which is, again, pretty unusual in a tiny house. We have some space for your luggage, backpacks, whatever. It's just really funny because this reminds me of Harry Potter's room and when Dobby comes in and tries to save him. But yeah, definitely some, it's nice to have some space to put your luggage away and kind of away from the view of the rest of the house. And then we have a bathroom here, full-size bathroom. So we have a flush toilet, we have a full-size vanity essentially, and we have this quirky little corner shower, which you definitely see more of in tiny houses. Kind of cuts off this corner from sort of the square showers, but it gives you a little bit of extra room to walk around. And it's still a pretty decent size here anyways. So that's it. And now we're gonna go upstairs. So I really like that this is sort of like a bonus area up here, this loft, especially if you're just coming with one other person, or it's just yourself, or just like an extra pet. Then basically this is just some extra living space. We have this awesome little leather futon. Really like this little spot right here, because for some reason, I don't know if they built this for my size or my height, but this is like a perfect little spot to rest and kind of just look out to the farm. And we have this whole little desk, dedicated workspace, which you guys can come and work from home if that's what you guys will be doing here. Cool little private workspace. And we even have an extra bed over here. So these places house up to 4 guests. So you have 2 in the private bedroom below, and then 2 up here. And it's pretty much a private space in this scenario, as opposed to a lot of other tiny houses that you'll basically have one loft and then you're looking on to the other loft where your friends are sleeping. So at least in this case, it's definitely more of like a private sleeping space. Though, for this side, you can't really stand, but on this side, what's really cool is you can actually stand in this loft. at least if you're short like me. It has about a 6.5 foot clearance, maybe a little bit less, but the fact that you can actually stand in the loft is just pretty amazing. Definitely can't stand in my loft. So let's go back downstairs. So last but not least, we have this incredible little outdoor living area where we have this roofed-in porch, or the roof over the porch, I should say, with this massive like 8 to 10 person picnic table and these 2 other wooded chairs. This is a great little place to come and, you know, you can have your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner, or just come out in the morning and have a cup of coffee. But nonetheless, it's a great space. If you're coming with, you know, a couple other friends, or you guys rented a couple of cabins, then, you know, it's a great place to sort of hang out and entertain. Extra living space. It's another like 100 to 150 square feet of covered space. So it definitely makes this space feel even larger than it is. But again, guys, that is the modern tiny cabin here just outside of Dripping Springs, Texas. If you guys want to come and rent this little cabin, it is for rent on Airbnb. So I will leave the listing in the description below. If you guys haven't signed up for an Airbnb account as well, you can get up to $50 off your first stay. So this is a great little spot. If you guys come out here, this is a great little spot to use as a home base for either during the week if you're working from home, or if you guys come for a little weekend getaway. There are tons of things to do around the area, so don't be discouraged by the fact that this place is in the middle of a farm. Dripping Springs is only about 5 miles down the road. It's about a 10-minute drive. There's tons of cool restaurants. There's a really cute little downtown area there with lots of coffee shops, lots of things to see in that area. Of course, it's a really small town Texas, out here in the hill country. And there are quite a few breweries and wineries out here as well. There's a Fitzhugh Brewery just like 2 blocks away. We basically drove by on the way in. And then there's Jester King Brewery, which is, again, only like 3 or 4 miles away from here. And lots of wineries. Of course, I don't know if it will compare to what's out in Fredericksburg, but this is a lot closer to Austin anyway, so it's only about a 20 to 30 minute drive from downtown. So if you guys want to come check it out, I would highly recommend it. It's great as a place for couples. You can even bring your smunchies, don't leave them at home. And yeah, I would highly recommend getting some friends together and booking the other cabins as well. Then you'll get a private little getaway here at the farm. So I hope you guys enjoyed that little tour of the modern tiny cabin, and I will see you in the next one.
I was out there alone, moving from station to station. I've been searching for the right one, but I was ready for something more.